Oh, I mean, if you're talking about whether he lives up to the hype, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely, no doubt. Carl Tamayo is the real deal. Is he the best player since Kiefer, or I
Uh,
don't know, since Ren, or
yeah.
I, I'm not. I think what makes Carl possibly end up, after the next 4 or 5 years, what can make him potentially the best college player we've seen is not even with Benji Paras, before. I don't think we've seen this kind of skill set in a guy this size. I mean, I first saw Carl Tamayo, I think in 2016, when he was still with
Mhm.
Adamson. No? He was fresh from
Oh yeah.
Cebu. He was
Mm.
15 years old, and already people were saying, itong tingnan mo, itong si Tamayo, galing Cebu, yung galing Adamson, dinala ni Coach Gold. Kasi yan, ibang klase yan. I think I saw him first, yeah, thin, reed thin, 15-year-old, 6'5" already at that time. And he wasn't dominant by any stretch, but he had such great potential. You could see his spin moves at 6'5" as a 15-year-old. Parang kita mo na oy, there's something about this kid, no? And when I was with Batangilas in 2018 when they competed in the under 17 World Cup in Argentina, and Carl was part of that team. And I remember our first tune-up game in Argentina, a few days after we landed. Our first tune-up game, first or second tune-up game was against the Canadian team, Team Canada,
Mm.
under 17 team ng Canada. And Canada, obviously they have 6'8", 6'9" guys. Like half the roster was 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" guys. But here was Carl Tamayo, who was around 6'7", 6'8" at that time,
Yeah.
and that was 2018, so he was around 17 years old, and he was holding his own against these
Yeah.
Canadians, huh? These future NCAA Division One players. No? And Kai was cinco, and it was either Gio or Raven playing the four, and then here was
Mm.
Carl playing the three
Oh yeah.
against Canadian kids, and he was taking some of them to school. Huh? I mean,
Mm.
he would get high post,
Oh.
okay, tapos spin. His favorite
Oh.
shoulder is his right side. This is
Oh.
scouting report from high school. No? Whenever we'd scout against NU, we tell our players, we tell Kai, we tell Gio, we tell Josh, okay,
Oh.
favorite shoulder ni Carl, right. So when he's posting you up, he'll probably spin to his right. But even if you knew that, it would still be extremely difficult to stop him. Just how good he is. So here was Carl Tamayo taking these Canadians to school, driving right, driving left, shooting mid range, shooting 20-footers, and that was the first time I was like, holy ish, this kid is special.
Yeah.
This kid, this kid could go beyond the Philippines.
Mm.
I mean, back then, the focus was definitely on Kai, and well deserved, no.
Mm.
But in that tournament in Argentina, when people saw the Batangilas guys play, they were not just talking about Kai anymore. They were talking about Carl also, no. And up until now, sometimes I still get, because I also write for FIBA, I still get some
Mm.
messages, no? Parang, oh, how's that kid? This what's his name? Tamayo.
Yeah.
Where did he play in the Jeep? Did he play in Europe? Because that's
Mm.
how good scouts thought he was, no? And he is going to be a dominant force for UP for this season, the second season later this year,
Yeah.
the next year, the year after next. He's gonna be a dominant force for UP,
Mm.
Diego. I don't think there's any one single player who can stop him. I mean, maybe toe to toe with him, as a 3/4 guy. Maybe Balti.
Yeah. Maybe lang.
Maybe when he's eligible next season, si Kai Balungay from Ateneo. Maybe. I'm trying to think
Mm.
right now. Pero aside from those two, parang wala eh. I mean, this is again a 6'8" guy. You can make him play back to the basket and he can dominate. You can make him play the three like how Coach Tab played him against Korea in the last 2 windows ago, and he can dominate. He can eat you alive. 2 years ago, I mean 3 years ago, if you left him from three, parang okay, you can settle for that. But now hindi eh. Hindi pwede.
Oh, nung Gilas hindi na. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really really good. If there is one maybe weakness, and maybe this is actually past tense already, because knowing Carl, he's the type of kid who works on his weaknesses eh. Kasi nga dati left shoulder weakness, he worked on that. Dati set shot 3 weakness, he worked on that already. Dati defense was not his biggest strength. Okay. He was not really known as a dominant shot blocker. Dati medyo tinatago siya on defense ng NU. But knowing him and knowing how Coach Gold adjusts and works on his players, I wouldn't be surprised if he's improved. And actually, he has improved. In the Gilas window, 6 months ago, you could see him fighting through screens. You could see him making the right reads on screen and roll situations. And I think he's improved defensively. You know? But yun, he's really going to be a dominant force, Diego, moving forward. Siguro, as long as he stays healthy. As long as he stays healthy. Kasi for the longest time, I think 4 years now, I'm not sure if it was his right ankle or his left ankle. Yung kanyang medyo weak. Yung parang physically, yung weakness niya eh. One of his ankles eh. But apart from that, he's dominant. I mean, if he got drafted in the PBA tomorrow, he would be a double-figure scorer in the PBA. That's how good he is. And the fact that he has 5 seasons to play in the UAAP, it's vulgar, it's profane. That's how good Carl Tamayo is. So yeah, he's good. He potentially can be the best local player we've ever seen. But whether he'll be that depends on a couple of other factors. But hype definitely is justified for Carl Tamayo.